Doc Loves the Kids, a local Kitsap County nonprofit organization established in 2015, whose mission is to provide activities, programs, and community support for at-risk youth.
They put the U in community.
Doc Loves the Kids.
Welcome to Uncommon Courtesy.
We give you the courtesy of conversation
That's uncommonly spoke of.
I'm D-Mac.
I'm Wesley.
And this is the show. Don't forget to like, listen, subscribe. Thanks to everybody that checks us out every week, every day. We put stuff out. Don't forget our Friday Fix every 7 p.m. every Friday. Live Town Hall 1 p.m.
Every Sunday,
both Pacific times.
I mean, we only talk politics on our town hall, but on Friday Night Fix, man, we talking life. We're gonna start bringing in some guests. So, you guys, if you guys want to be guests on our Friday Night Fix, let us know. We can talk about pretty much anything.
Anything
you know what I mean?
Want. And we're gonna talk about it too.
We're gonna talk about it, but let's talk about this.
There are no rules.
Definitely. Let's talk about this story today out of South Korea. South Korea lifts president's martial law. Lawmakers reject military rule. The president of South Korea early Wednesday lifted the martial law he imposed on the country hours earlier, bending to political pressure after a tense night in which troops surrounded parliament and lawmakers voted to reject military rule. President Yoon Suk Yeol, who appeared likely to be impeached over his actions, imposed martial law late Tuesday out of frustration with the opposition, vowing to eliminate anti-state forces as he struggles against opponents who control parliament and that he accuses of sympathizing with communist North Korea. Police and military personnel were seen leaving the grounds of parliament following the bipartisan vote to overrule the president, and the declaration was formally lifted around 4:30 a.m. during a cabinet meeting. Parliament acted swiftly after martial law was imposed, with National Assembly Speaker Shik declaring the law was invalid and the lawmakers would protect democracy with the people. This was a pretty tense scene.
They acted quickly, and there were still a lot of people in power that were able to stop it. But I mean, when they do that over here on January 21st, you know, it's gonna be a sight to see, because that's what's happening. Yeah,
I feel like, I mean, this was the reasoning he gave. You know, I'm gonna kind of like just glaze over the reasoning a little bit, not really make in-depth point about it, but the best I can see, most of it is due to the fact that 2/3 of their parliament is, let's say it's more of a conservative branch of the parliament. They're more, he's saying they're sympathizers with North Korea in that branch. They're probably looking to not be as cozy with the West as they have been. He's not able to get a lot of his agenda passed. South Korea is a kind of a special place right now because South Korea is one of the largest economies in the world. At the same time, they have one of the if not the largest birth rate decline out of any country. They're looked at as being, in the future, there won't be a South Korea. They're called like a disappearing country. I mean, so and at the same time, they have more, like per every 10,000 workers, they have like 1,000 robots, which is like unheard of. Like they're like the highest in robots per workers because they don't have enough people of like working age to be able to fill the jobs that need to be filled in South Korea. So by him, what he basically did was something that was so out of the ordinary for a democracy, for a country that goes to the polls and votes. He basically said it was because of the people that you guys put in office, and I can't work with them, I'm going to call martial law now because I feel like they're communists. I feel like they're, whatever he wants to call them, and say that since they're not agreeing with him or helping to work with him, he called martial law and brought troops into the parliament.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so
I see Donald Trump doing that on day one. He was like, hey, he already, how you going to send a message like that out to people on Thanksgiving? He's like, happy Thanksgiving to everybody, except for the lunatic radical left. I mean, if you were to look at this from any perspective, the reason I feel like he backed down was not only because the people came, were at the gates and the parliament with a bipartisan vote. That means the people who were not in power. 190, everyone voted to stop martial law.
Because but when you look at it from this perspective, okay, when democratic countries fight against dictatorships, they fight against anything that's not communism. They fight against any of these type of governments, socialist governments sometimes, but sometimes they're a part of the other side as well. But they fight against those things because they want to be seen as the right way of doing business. Because if a dictatorship is looking like it's being successful and the people are eating and they're living good under that dictatorship, people may call for that. But if on the flip side of that, if people are living good under a democracy and things look like they're going well, people are going to call for that. Look at like the Arab Spring that they had in 2011. That's why so many dictatorships and also rules by kings and things of that nature were being overthrown at that time. But with him doing this, it gives democracy a really bad kind of like taste in their mouth. Because if something doesn't go your way, you're pretty much saying that throw democracy out the window, and now we're going to head straight to martial law. Who else does that?
Us.
A dictator.
We're about to do it.
You know what I mean? A dictator. And so to me, this was almost like a test run to see if this will work. It didn't work because he didn't have any true enemy to point at. In our country, we kind of have an enemy that we've all been pointing at lately, which is immigrants. So a person can say
minorities and Democrats,
you know, and so a person
and liberals
he can come in and, yeah, say it again.
The liberal and the woke.
Yeah, and so he can come in and say, we're going to weed these people out of our government. So I need this type of power. We're going to get rid of these people out of our country. So I need to do this because these governments are not willing to work with me. Say like California chooses not to let the federal government send troops in. Oh, well, we need to call martial law because this is what's happening here. And I need this law. And once you do it one time, it's never happened in this country. And it's against the law, actually, for a person to send troops into the streets here. And so once it happens once, we become kind of almost, it becomes a normal thing.
And it won't stop. That's the whole thing. People, you think they're going to call martial law, round him up after a month or two, it'll be done? Nah, because now he has martial law. He has all the troops in the streets. He can do whatever he wants. And
the troops have gotten to a point to where they're comfortable dictating what the people in this country do. They've never done that before. Imagine that they're comfortable now. So now when he wants to do it again for another reason, like you said,
already there.
It's already there. It's already happened one time. It's already it's already normal to us to drive and have blockades where, like you said before, where now they're blocked. Okay, it's a blockade here. What they're doing is it's just a checkpoint. They're checking each vehicle for this. It's normalized to us now.
I'm saying what we need to do, if it gets too wild, people need to start blowing up those forensic buildings. Then we can get back to the 90s where we could be free spirited and do what we want to do.
And you know, and
in the streets.
at the same time, these same people who were very much against mask wearing people standing 6 feet apart, they're going to be all for blockades, warrantless searches of people's homes, warrantless, basically detaining people without real probable cause. You know, they're going to be fine with that.
Well,
but you're laughing about a mask.
They're going to come to their house because everyone's suspect. You can say, hey, you could vote for Donald Trump and you can see what he's doing and say it's wrong. And you can start hiding immigrants in your home. Well, as soon as they catch one person doing it, now everyone's guilty of it. So they got to make sure they go through everyone's house. Once everyone starts getting violated, they're going to be like, damn, this is what I voted for. I'm like, yes.
I don't feel like they're going to dictatorship. I don't feel like they're going to violate people who look like them. I don't. I feel like that's going to be, I mean, there will be some, of course, because it's going to happen. Just like during, when over in Nazi Germany, some Germans hid Jewish people in their homes. That happens. It's going to happen. Just like during the Underground Railroad, some white people helped black people along the Underground Railroad. It's going to happen. So there will be cases. But overall, they're not going to pull over someone named Zach or something like that and say, oh, we think that you're an immigrant. Show me your paperwork. Or let's go into Zach's house over there.
No, they'd be like, Zach, show us your Facebook. Show us your friends list. Like, yep, nope. Zach got too many colored friends on here.
That's a possibility.
Yeah, why not? Everything's on social media. That's how they catch the rappers. They caught the one dude the other day. He was on there with a switch. Had 70 views. 70 people came in to see him with the switch. He got 10 years.
And so the biggest thing with this right here is, to me, like it was shut down immediately. But to look at South Korea, I mean, and knowing who their neighbor to the north is, and knowing that the one thing that they had going for themselves was that they were a democracy. They let the people vote, and they actually have a really, really good economy. They have a strong economy. People make a lot of good money there for that region. And so it's to me, it's like that's a stain on their democracy right there. That president is probably going to be impeached and thrown out of office. I mean, it just makes perfect. You're going to try and basically pull I'm king.
He's going to do it again. If you don't take him out, they said he has to accept that they got rid of martial law, or they're going to say that he's illegitimate and get rid of him. That's what it says in the articles.
He got rid of it, but the biggest thing is like now they're going to go and the people are going to want him gone.
Yeah, no,
I can't trust you.
A way around it.
I can't trust you. But the point of it to me is, will we go for that? Was that something that we're going to be okay with?
Oh yeah, of course.
I think so too, man.
I first think about it, they laid down and let all this happen. So
I think so too. I think the majority of people who voted for this person they're going to be super fine. They're good with it. They're damn near will let him be king. They have no problem with that.
Well, no, they will at first because to them, they're listening. When you're lied and fed, when you're fed a bunch of lies throughout your media, you're gonna believe all that stuff. You see, one white girl got killed by an immigrant brutally. Yeah, it's a horrible thing, right? Mm-hmm. But we Americans kill our own. But you're using this one person out of 20 million. You're using 100,000 people out of 20 million. I mean, that's what they do to black folks. Now, when it starts affecting their pocketbooks, when it starts affecting their food, when the programs that they like to watch can't air anymore on TV, when you're because you're not uncomfortable. There's a lot of people in America. The only time you're uncomfortable is when you put something on to make you uncomfortable. You put on a channel, now you're uncomfortable because you're watching this. You're online, you're reading some articles, that's making you uncomfortable. But you turn that off, your day's fine. Once your day-to-day stops being normal, then you'll realize what you've done to yourself. That's what I'm saying. That's exactly what's going to happen.
Like I said, I want to say one more time, I believe that this was I won't say it was intentional, but it was a test run. This was a test run to see how these type of things will play out in a democracy. In a strong democracy. We're not talking about a weak one that just, a new democracy. We're not talking about one that is impoverished democracy. We're talking about a strong democracy, and I think this was just a test run for what's to come.
Well, see, Donald Trump can just get up on, hey, I'm enacting martial law. Report to your local, we're going to have these bases open and we're going to get people and you can help us get rid of the migrants. And people will sign up because they're going to get paid. Speaking of getting paid, Missouri lawmakers propose bounty system to report migrants. A bill introduced into the Missouri Senate would give residents a $1,000 payout for reporting migrants who entered the country illegally. The proposal is one of at least 7 bills introduced in the state's legislature to focus on the immigrants, all sponsored by Republican leaderships. Senator-elect David Gregory proposed the legislation, which would create an online portal for people to make reports to the state highway patrol and be eligible for the payouts. Texas couple dreams border orchard turns into a nightmare. Senate Bill 72 would also develop a Missouri illegal alien certified bounty hunter program, which would certify people to be bounty hunters for the specific purpose of finding and detaining immigrants without proper documents. Anyone licensed as a bail bonds agent would be eligible to apply for the program.
You know what that sounds like to me? Remember back in Frontier days when they were running out and they were basically paying for scalps?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, is this dead or alive? How is this going to play out here? So if one of them fights you, do you have the right to now kill them? You know what I mean? Like, so how did this is what it sounds like. I know what people are going to say that sounds like fear mongering, but pay attention. Pay attention on me because it's going to be like that. I know that.
Let me finish this part. It says anyone detained in Missouri without proper documents, having knowingly entered the state, would be guilty of trespass by an illegal alien. That would mean they could not receive any public benefits, vote in any elections, get a permit or license to drive, or even become a legal resident of the state.
Yeah, it's perfect for them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I told you they'd hit them with something. I said that before. They're going to hit them with some crime where they're going to be able to be a citizen anyways. They're going to have to serve their time here in America.
Take their vote away. Like same thing they did to black people. Take your vote away. You know what I mean? That's the first thing they want to do. Always take away your right to vote. Make sure, no, you can't be a citizen of Missouri because they want to keep Missouri a certain way. Missouri's already a dying state. You know what I mean? Like when you look at it, it already is. I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm not anti-Missouri, but let's look at the numbers. You know what I mean? And so basically take away any kind of means for this person to ever become a legal citizen, even if they came here with as an asylum seeker. It's crazy. But
no, it's not crazy. This is the times that we live in. It's like, I mean, let's say 10 years ago, you couldn't even fathom any of this stuff happening.
Yeah, absolutely not.
None of it.
I mean,
you'd be like,
$1,000, man. You're paying $1,000 per immigrant. Is that what it says? Pretty much. I mean, do you understand what that is right there?
That's a lot. That's a house payment depending on where you live at.
You live in Missouri, it's a house payment for sure.
Depending on who you know. Yeah. Like, hey, where y'all gonna be at tomorrow? I just want to make sure.
Hey, is it per person?
Is it per person? Yeah, it's $1,000. That's how they do with stitching.
This is crazy.
On somebody, it's
this is crazy, bro.
Person.
You know, I got 10 people in the house over here off top. You know what I mean? That's 10,000. That's where your money's going as a state. Now they're going to get bounty hunters too, basically paying for scalps, man. This is what they're doing. They're paying for scalps. I know it's a little bit hyperbole because they're not saying kill them. However, if a person feels like they're in danger, if a bounty hunter felt like he was in danger,
they can't hurt my feelings because they don't speak English.
Why do you think they take a gun? Why do you think they have a gun with them?
$1,000 a piece, huh? Per person.
Hey man,
I'm saying I can come out of this. We could be pandemic rich.
and the cool part about it is Missouri is an agricultural state. I mean, it has a lot of agriculture. I won't say it's just simply agriculture. There's a lot of other stuff going on in Missouri as well. A lot of factories as well. I mean, so it's an agricultural state. So what are you going? I mean, how are you going to get around that part of it?
I told you what they're going to do, bro. I told you this was the plan before, right? And now that I have a bill, let me tell you what they're going to do once they start locking them up. They're going to make them slaves. They're not going to send them back right away. They're going to put, hey, you're going to have to work, and you're going to have to work hard labor. They're going to call it hard labor. And they're going to put them in those fields,
for the cost of me having to catch you, to detain you, I mean, put you in jail, feed you, everything else.
And they're going to justify it that way. Everyone's going to be like, that's a great idea. And also they're going to be like, oh, they made them slaves.
It saves the taxpayers money. That's what they're going to call it. I mean, basically, they're not going to call it. They're not going to call it. They're going to call it reparations. They're going to call it. I won't say reparations, but they could be called reparations. Basically, you have to pay a reparation for us having to catch you. They put you, detain you, ship you out, everything else. This is how you pay us back for all this. So it doesn't cost the taxpayer as much. It's a savings for the taxpayer. It makes sense when you say it that way. When you make
indentured servitude. You have to work to get back to your home country because you broke the law here. Your fine is, well, we're going to be a $30,000 fine. And you're going to work that in the fields at 20 cents an hour.
20 cents an hour.
Same thing they do to them in jail.
That's maybe less than that sometimes. It'd be like 14 cents, crazy shit.
You know what I'm saying? Because first they go get them, right? And then some of them, after a while, they go, oh, y'all got to, fine, we're going to have to send you back or else it's going to look bad on us. We can't put you in chains and let our constituents rape you. So what they're going to do, they're going to start rounding up the people that were helping them, the people that were giving them bad information. You know what I'm saying? And then they're going to put them into the same situation. They're going to use the laws. Look, they never got rid of slavery, folks. They just made it so only the corporations can do it and people can't own them privately.
It's still on the books. Absolutely.
Still on the books. Still in the Constitution.
It's crazy because it's like, are they going to have to find them guilty first of this crime? Or
think about it. They got them in New York, bro. These people were sitting in jail for 3. Remember they had the one young guy. They said he stole the backpack. He was up there for 3 years before he even saw a judge. Yeah. They said the federal government is probably going to take over Rikers Island because it's so bad and corrupt. Because they got the people sitting up there for you up there for 4 years before you even see a judge. And once you start getting to a point to where a state is okay with doing these type of things, and you have a federal government that's not going to step in and look into anything at all, if there's any kind of outcry over sexual abuse, over abuse, any physical abuse, anything at all, you know, they're not going to step in because they've already given the thumbs up about it. Now that tells the state I can do what the fuck I want to do. I don't have. There's no laws here. These people aren't governed under the same laws that we are because we're citizens. These people are not citizens. What do you do with the kids? Yeah.
What do you do with the kids? What do you do with the old people? You put them out there to work too. I mean, you're talking about millions of people. How much money this is going to cost us?
Well, yeah, they all broke the law. They don't care. I've seen them try to throw 9-year-olds in jail.
I mean, we're talking about breaking the law. So did the president. He broke the law. I mean, you know, at the same time,
better to enforce it.
Exactly.
He don't give a fuck. Excuse me. He broke the law. His wife was a prostitute. Dude got 34 felonies.
I don't know. I know she was like a model, like a what was it called? Like a nude model.
Yeah, for money.
I don't know if we'll call that a prostitute, but what'd you say it was?
Oh, you mean like OnlyFans?
I mean, what'd you say? She was a what?
A prostitute.
I mean, that's what you want to say.
Call girl. What do they call them? Escorts. Escorts. Those are fancy ones because they don't walk on the sling.
I don't know if she was an escort. I can't say that for sure. We can't say that with any certainty. But what we can say, she did have a nude photo shoot. You know, I saw that for sure. I mean, that's part of life. People do that all the time. She must got good box.
You see where she's at. I mean, first lady. Hey,
Jesus.
I don't care.
What to know about?
I don't care. Nobody should care what we say anymore. It doesn't matter. You can go. You can say whatever you want now. It's okay.
Nah, I believe you, but
just don't be too crazy. If you want to keep your job while you can hold it before the immigrant catchers come and get you because somebody said you was the immigrant and they about to get $1,000
get that bando. They about to get that bando. I'm gonna keep real. I'm like, damn, man, 1,000. They about to give 1,000.
I know a house full of 20 right
40
now.
people right now, that's $40,000.
I'm saying,
it's crazy because you've made it damn near like, man, this is impossible for who's gonna say no to that?
Nobody is, bro. You could go deputize yourself as a bounty hunter and go get migrants.
You could just drive out by
Lowe's.
His car.
Nigga, you know they ain't gonna be in front of there no more.
Put them in the truck real quick. You know, it's crazy, man. This is crazy.
You get to zip tie them, abuse them, and you're gonna have full immunity. Don't forget that. Don't forget full immunity. I might have to be a bounty hunter.
We're not getting that in this state. You're gonna have to go to one of those states to do it.
I might have to go do it.
You're gonna have to move.
I might have to
Idaho.
go get that money.
And if you
I might have to go get that money.
Yes, it's quite.
I'm saying, bro.
Hey,
I'd rather go get it before they come for me. I'm like, no, I'm here with y'all.
Get a quick 100 things. He said the pandemic again all over again.
Pandemic.
What to know about sudden rebel gains in Syria's 13-year war and why it matters. The 13-year civil war in Syria has roared back into prominence with a surprise rebel offensive that captured Aleppo, one of Syria's largest cities and an ancient hub of Middle East culture and commerce. The push is the rebels' strongest in years in a war whose destabilizing effects have rippled far beyond the country's borders. It was the first opposition attack on Aleppo since 2016, when a brutal Russian air campaign retook the northwestern city of Syrian President Bashar Assad after rebel forces had seized it. Intervention by Russia, Iran, and Iranian allied Hezbollah and other groups has allowed Assad to remain in power within the 70% of Syria under his control. Insurgents led by the jihad group Hayat Tahrir al-Sham launched the two-pronged attack on Aleppo last week and moved into the countryside around Idlib and neighboring Hama province. The Syrian military and its foreign allies have rushed reinforcements and launched airstrikes as they attempt to stall their momentum. Well, basically, what's going on over here, what I'm seeing is this is a weird kind of timing for this to even happen.
Yeah.
You know, you look at what's going on in that whole entire region. You got Russia, who's really been Syria's, and Iran as well, has been Syria's main backers. Syria almost was supposed to fall during 2011 during the Arab Spring, when many other countries with dictators in that region fell. That's when Libya fell. I think Tunisia, a bunch of other countries, Northern Africa, and in the Middle East were falling because of people. They blamed it on Twitter. They said a lot of this stuff was being boasted on Twitter. A lot of people were saying, hey, we're boycotting over here, and they were using Twitter to kind of move around their boycotts and how they were pushing their agenda, letting people know what's going on. Yeah. And so I
mean, it's never been a real place, but I apologize. Go ahead.
No, it's okay. And so basically these troops, it's just a weird timing. You know what I mean? Right now, right after the election, right after we've given Ukraine access to using, our weapons, now all of a sudden these forces who are backed by Turkey, who are Russia and Turkey are friends, and also backed by some of our militia groups over there in that area that we have now retaken one of the largest cities in Syria, which puts Assad in a kind of a strange predicament. He's one of the few people. Syria is right next door, basically, to Israel, which is like that was one of the countries they talked about had to fall: Syria, Iran, and Iraq. Those are the three countries that Israel wanted to fall. Now all of a sudden there's movement, from rebel groups in Syria. So, I mean, I'm not saying this is going to be, a huge thing, but when you're looking at the world from a global perspective, this shows you, hey, let's do something to knock on Russia's back door to make them have to take attention off of what they're doing with us. They had to send in air attacks to kind of like try to push back some of these troop movements to help out Assad, because that's one of their hubs. And like Israel's our hub in the Middle East, Syria's Russia's hub in the Middle East, one of them that they really, and they're also friendly with Iran and other people as well. So this is a pretty big thing to kind of pay attention to right now, especially with Turkey being okay with this too. You know what I mean? And Turkey and Russia have a great relationship. Obviously, there's some fractures in it because of this, but I really want to see how this plays out over the next few weeks. If there's more movement, then we kind of can see what the writing is on the wall here. You know what I mean? But this is something I think we should really be paying attention to. Yeah. And I got
here, I want to do one really quick. This is out of Greensville, South Carolina. I'm apologize. I might botch this young lady's name, but I feel it's a very important story. I saw it the other day. A black girl named Kalea Turner, now 14, was pushed to attempt suicide at the age of 12 due to relentless bullying. The cruelty didn't stop there. Her bully snuck into the ICU where she was recovering from her suicide attempt to take photos of her, which they later used to mock her on social media. The bullying she endured over a year of severe physical and verbal abuse from 5 classmates at Dr. Finzi J. Fisher's middle school. They called her degrading names like Roach, Mustache Face, subjected her to offensive content, and even physically attacked her. The attempt, feeling cornered with no escape, she tried to take her own life in 2023. She was found hanging and was clinically dead for 8 minutes before being revived. The incident left her with severe brain damage and needing long-term care. While in a coma, one of her tormentors managed to get into the ICU and photograph her, circulating these images online to further humiliate her. Her family has now filed a lawsuit against the Greensville County School District and 9 facility members, accusing them of negligence in addressing the bullying dispute, repeated complaints. The lawsuit seeks to cover her medical bills, life care expenses, and more due to profound impacts of her life. And then I wanted to show everyone the picture of this young lady.
Make sure we put that up.
Yeah, we'll put that up.
And a little girl, man.
Little girl, yeah. And I mean, the schools do not, and I would say, do not protect children from bullying.
I almost don't even know if we want to, probably might have to blur her face out. She looked like a very, I'm not sure if the picture of her was the age she was when this happened, but she was a very small girl. I mean, and when you really think about like a person coming into the ICU to photograph you down the line and they're taking this as a joke, I mean, that shows
horrible parenting. I mean, it's not horrible parenting. That's what they raise this child to be. Imagine your child. Actually, fuck that shit. Imagine your child is in the ICU and another kid comes in there and takes pictures of them so they can make fun of them some more.
Was this person allowed to be in there because under the guise of being their friend? You know what I mean? This is the only thing I could think of. How is this person allowed to get this far into this area?
In the ICU, all you got to say is you have somebody in there.
I mean, nah, they're not just about to let anybody in there.
It depends what kind of hospital you in, too.
Yeah,
like
true.
Up here, like we live in a big metropolitan area, like you can't even get in the hospital. Yeah. I mean, you can get in parts of the hospital, but like you can't get to the babies and stuff. But the ICU, you can get up there.
Yeah, it's crazy to me that they've gone. This little girl was this affected by what happened, because a lot of people go through bullying. A lot of people go through that. Yeah. I mean, don't get me wrong, but it's been going on for a very long time. And we've always had a term for it, but we just started really pushing this agenda. Like, people are bullying. It's been going on for very long time. This is a part of life. Everyone gets bullied at some point in time, somewhere in their life. It happens.
You know what people need to do? If your child's getting bullied by a kid in the school, don't want to do it. I saw one dad, he went to school and beat up the bully's dad. He's like, I'll beat your daddy ass. I'll beat your mama ass. You know what I'm saying? The dude on the school grounds. Look, my daughter, she turned to gang banging for a minute because she's getting bullied so much in the school, isn't doing nothing about it. She's like, well, Dad, I got tired of being bullied, so I got me a crew and we flexed on everybody, and nobody messes with her now. She doesn't gang bang or anything like that, but she had to get tough and crazy. I had to do the same thing in school myself because the schools won't protect children.
It happens, though. I mean, this is a part of life. I mean, this is why people do a lot of things in certain neighborhoods. Like, we had this conversation before. You were like, everyone, certain neighborhoods, everyone has everyone has free will, which they do. But there's a lot of things that go on there that are worse than just some words sometimes.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, people are getting killed and things like that. So they turn to, like, just from your same story that you just said, this is why other people turn to gangs and whatever else, because there might have been someone who were their friend or their family member who were murdered.
And they need protection. You need someone to protect you.
Period. Or you just become angry at that point in time and you want to lash out and you don't know how to deal with that anger. So you turn to, hanging out with people who will help you deal with that anger in unhealthy ways, if we want to look at it that way. And so this is just a sad case with such a, I would assume the kid's probably in junior high, maybe high school. I'm not really sure.
She was 12 at the time.
Okay, Jesus, 12 years old. So she's either 6th grade or 7th grade, 1 to 2.
About 6th or 7th, yeah.
Yeah, 1 to 2 right there. Either just fresh in junior high or whatever. But it's sad to really think about it, man. It's sad to think about what the parents are having to go through, and then seeing their kid online. It's gut wrenching to have to think about what the kid
parents and the kids out at that point. Like, my child, that's something like, see, I have a heart for my kids. And I have empathy for people. But when it gets to a point where, you're not protecting my child and they're in a space where you're supposed to protect them, and then something like this happens, everybody got to die. Yeah, I'm going to set the example for everyone else to show you how much I love my children. I'm going to set the example for you to show you, to look the fear in your eyes of why what's your consequences for not doing right by the children you're supposed to protect. Because I used to work in child care areas. You protect all children. Every child that comes in your corner, they're not your child, but you treat them and protect them like they are.
I agree. I agree with what you're saying, but let's look at it from this perspective. There's so many kids in school. People are saying things to kids all the time. We don't know which kid's going to take something to heart so much or feel so beat down by it. Yeah. There's kids who go through bullying for their whole entire career and don't ever do something like this.
They tell on them. And the crazy thing is, you'll tell on a kid and they'll say, hey, don't do that again. and the kid will get a slap. They won't even get a slap on the wrist, and the kid's right back. Oh, you telling on me? Then they'll say, hey, they're still messing with me, and the school will be like, they don't know what to do because they must be scared of the parents.
No, I think that a lot of times they're looking at this as childish behavior. A lot of times it's childish behavior, but some kids are not equipped to take that type of childish behavior, or some things are just overboard when it comes to certain kids too. I mean, there are cases where things are way overboard, but it's like if a person at some point in time, we all have to learn to deal with adversity.
I just wish black folks, if there's a time to crash out on something, that's a time to crash out. You know what I'm saying? Like, don't terrorize people in your community. Yeah. This happened, whatever community this is, that's how I look at it. Like when stuff like this happens to our youth, and there's people in the streets out here, wherever they're from, and they act like I don't believe you because you ain't crashing out for the right people. You crashing out over a woman because she kissed a dude and you knew she was for the streets, but you won't crash out for a little girl like this that was getting bullied. Crash out for the right thing. That's what I'm saying. Anyway, sir, I'm over it. It makes me upset when I see kids getting picked on and grown adults don't want to do nothing about it.
Yeah, it happens a lot. I mean, and I think a lot of times it's not even
they don't even lose sleep over it.
It's not even that they don't want to do anything about it. I don't think all the time, but I think there's a lot of, I could agree on both standpoints. There's probably a lot of them who are just like, hey, don't have anything to do with me. There's a lot of them who are probably like, this is a part of life. If we were to try to stop every instance of kids being mean or someone taking something. No, you don't have to. Kids
are going to be mean regardless. But the thing is, a kid be mean to someone, you correct them, you check them. Mm-hmm. Give them in-school suspension. Tell their parents what they're doing. They didn't do any of this, or else this would have stopped. You would have suspended the kids. You would have got them. Call the police on them. You do it to our kids all the time.
I agree. Excuse
me.
A quick one real quick here.
You let it go on too long, and a child tried to kill herself over it.
Yeah, that's too bad.
Kids get bullied all the time. All the time. But it's up to the adults in the environment. Yeah, you can't stop them all, but you can stop enough. Send a message. Hey, yo, this kid was messing with her. They suspended her, told her parents, made him go get counseling and stuff. And write a letter of apology. I don't have to do that. None of that. So I'm going to leave these people alone.
And also make the parents have to go do something as well, too. Yeah. So it becomes something the parents will want to enforce because they understand that there's consequences that are just that reach above and beyond their kid just having to be home for a few days. So last one here, wrap this up. Ohio woman accused of eating cat pleads guilty.
They're eating the cats. They're eating the dogs.
An Ohio woman accused earlier this year of killing and eating a cat pled guilty to animal cruelty, Monday court records show. Alexis Farrell in August pled not guilty to cruelty to companion animals after she was arrested and held on $100,000 bond. She switched her plea to guilty Monday after a lengthy court process, which included an evaluation of her mental condition. Farrell received a sentence of 12 months in prison for the crime. Cleveland outlet WJW reported. She also reportedly sentenced Monday on a probation violations in 2 separate cases, giving her an additional 18 months in prison. Farrell's record shows previous cases related to cocaine possession, child endangerment, and theft. The woman was caught on body camera earlier this year by the Canton Police Department, hunching over the body of a dead cat. The clip was shared widely across social media. So this is the same woman who everyone was saying
was a migrant,
was a Haitian migrant that was eating the cats and eating the dogs in, at least just say eating the cats in Springfield, Ohio. But this woman's an American citizen, she's black. She's from Canton, Ohio. And, I'm not sure what she had going on, what kind of mental health issues she has going on. But what this tells me is that you didn't even try to do your due diligence because it was pretty easy to figure out what was going on here. And at the same time, if she can be mistaken for a Haitian, just a regular black woman, what can any black person be mistaken for? I've been saying that, bro.
Think about it. She just fit the narrative at the time. They were like, yo, someone's eating the cats. They thought it was a migrant. We're like, nah, she was a citizen. They're like, what? And people were like, well, still, same thing. That's what I'm saying, bro. Like, people don't understand. I'm like, I know I'm going to have to walk around with my papers on me. I know what I have to do. I know my kids are going to have to walk around with our papers on it, which is going to be a horrible way to live. And then and once that happens, right, I don't have any friends that are minorities at this time. You know what I'm saying?
People will come out and they'll say something like, well, you should want to walk around with your papers on you. This is the kind of things that people will start to say. The same freedom loving. I won't wear a mask. I don't want to stand 6 feet apart. Why are these laws like this? Americans,
I'm gonna get them too. I'll be like, yo,
are gonna be like, you should have your papers on you. That's no problem. Why don't you want to have to use your ID to vote? You never had to before. There's no problems with it before.
I think you should have your ID to vote.
I think
you do. I think you can't just walk up and say, hey, my name's John Smith, and post up in there. You should have an ID to vote. That just makes sense. I got to have an ID to buy liquor. I got to have an ID to get on an airplane. You should have an ID to vote.
I don't think that it's just like you don't have to have any kind of form of paperwork at all. I think that, you know what I mean? Like, me personally, I think it's, if they have the information they need and there's no problems, there has been no problems. This guy just won with no ID voting, no problems with it.
I think you should have an ID to vote. That's kind of common sense.
I think most places you do. They're going to ask you for your ID.
I mean, I went to go vote this time. They're like, hey, this is my name. You got your ID? I'm like, yep. So if you didn't have your ballot, they wanted your ID because they're going to give you a ballot.
Exactly. I mean, so I think that there's just different kinds of like, you feel what I'm saying? Like they're going to ask that question. But at the same time, to me, it's not a big deal, especially if it hasn't been a big deal leading up till now. Then what are we crying about it for? But bigger case in this right here, this woman got a year in prison for a mental health illness, obviously. You know what I mean? Something's wrong with her. She's eating a cat. Not a cooked cat. She didn't even take it. She didn't even take the fur off. Nothing. She's eating it the way that it was. I'm not even sure if she caught the cat and ate it and killed it. I don't know. But she just gave her 12 months in prison because she has a mental health illness, which doesn't make any sense at all whatsoever. But you'll want to go to the Appalachians and give these kids or give these people, you know what I mean? Or any kind of drug court, whatever you can to keep them out of trouble, knowing that they have a drug problem. I won't even call that.
Well, that's why crime is so high right now. People don't understand. They're like, well, it's, you got Democrat countries. No, they started feeling bad for the kids that look like you and started giving them lenient times for court cases. So, I mean, I live by a police officer. He told me, look, out here in our county, it's the same 12 people stealing all the cars. Same 12 people. They just go to jail. They let them out. They're all Caucasian, European Americans. They let them out and they go right back to stealing cars and they go back to jail for 3 months and they get right out. It's the same 12 people stealing the cars. They had to get lenient because they had to, at first they were giving you the same because European Americans are the ones that are hooked on fentanyl right now. The majority of them, heroin, opiates, all that. And so they realized that they made the times hella bad for black folks, but they have to give Tommy the same time they're giving Tyrone. Tommy's getting caught with 3 pills. They got to give him 5 years mandatory minimum. So they changed those laws. But weakening the laws, now you got all these drug addicts in the streets that are being slaps on the wrist all their lives, committing crimes, continuing to commit crimes. So they're not getting in trouble for it. But you're acting like, oh, this world's so bad. No, you did that to yourself because you're having leniency on these people that look like you.
Yep, creating drug havens. Look what they did down in Portland. So I mean, at the same time, hey, this is what's going on. But the bigger point to me is like, this woman can be accused of being a migrant. Anybody with any kind of melanin in their skin is pretty much looked at as a migrant.
I told you what was going to happen. I told you I'm going to flex on the first person. Be like, hey, show me your papers. I'll be like, bro, pow. Think about it. They can't tell us apart no way. Just carry an eye patch on you. That's all you got to do.
Make sure you guys tune in with us on Friday. So for the Friday Night Fix, 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time.
Yep.
We talk about anything. You can join in on the conversation. It's a town hall kind of sort of a conversation with no politics. You can bring it in. If you guys bring it in, we talk about it. But we're not talking about politics. We're not going to bring that up as a point of as a point to talk about. Then on Sunday, 1 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, we do our weekly town hall where we discuss all the news that's gone on this week. We do a recap on it. You guys can join in on that conversation as well.